Have you ever wondered if you could shoot cinematic wedding films by yourself? Well, I've done it countless times, and today we're going to do a complete breakdown of a wedding ceremony I shot solo. In this video, I'm going to walk you through my system for shooting perfect ceremonies by yourself. Any videographer can use these techniques to nail the ceremony every single time. Best of all, not only did I deliver a cinematic wedding film, I was able to deliver a seamless multi-cam edit of the full ceremony. The gear. For this ceremony, I used one Sony a7S III in a small rig half cage, Atomos Ninja 5 monitor, and one Sony a7 III with an Atomos Shogun monitor. The drone I used was a DJI Mavic Air 2. The lenses used were the Sony 85mm 1.8 and the Sony 24-105 f4. For support, I had two tripods. And although this video is primarily about shot setup, the audio gear I used were two Tascam DR40s and two Tascam DR10Ls. I will go over my fail-safe audio setup in another video. The deep dive. I break the ceremony down into 6 phases, and they are procession, the handoff, ceremony start, the vow exchange, the ring exchange, and finally the recession. Phase 1, the procession. The most important part of the procession is the bride walking down the aisle and the groom's reaction. This venue was in a gorgeous location and I had plenty of room, so I knew a drone shot would be beautiful and epic. I built all of my other shots around this. My safe cutaway cam started in the far back left with my 24-105mm. Typically this camera would be closer, usually behind the last row of guests, but I didn't want the drone to capture the tripod. It worked out pretty great because this is the shot I ended up with on that camera. Pro tip, always manually focus your safe camera before the start of the procession and choose a higher aperture to help maintain sharpness, as you may not always know the exact position or depth your couple will be at. I tend to use an aperture of f4 indoors or f8 or higher outdoors depending on the lighting situation. I put the drone in the air just before the start of the procession and had it hovering in the back away from the guests. If you can't find anyone to land the drone, just keep the remote close by and hit the return to home yourself. Final piece of the procession puzzle was the front shot. For this, I am handheld on an 85mm. Here I am able to easily go back and forth between procession and groom reaction. Here we have the shot of the bride's approach, and here is the groom's reaction. The handoff is the transition from the procession to the start of the actual ceremony. It can be one of the most challenging parts if not planned properly. So when I shoot solo, the main rule is have a safe cutaway at all times while you move. Generally, you want your cutaway to not be blocked by standing guests at the start of the ceremony, or you must be in a position and hold that position until the guests sit down. During this handoff, I moved backwards as the bride approached and maintained this shot until the guests were seated. Phase 3, ceremony start. Keeping with that same principle of always having a shot, I went and grabbed my tripod that I had off to the side so that I could set up my lead camera on that tripod. It's important to try to stay out of your safe shot while setting up this camera. Now I can move my rear safe cam that has a 24-105mm closer to the center of the aisle next to the lead camera that I just set up. Now we will make it look like we had way more cameras than we actually did. It will give you a true multi-cam feel for your long-form edit, as well as give you options for your cinematic film so that it doesn't get stale by using shots over and over again. While the officiant speaks, I change tripod positions every couple of minutes or so, as well as use different focal lengths by zooming with a 24-105mm. Pay attention to what the officiant is saying. There might be a great moment that you want a tighter shot for that you can use in your cinematic film. Phase 4, the vows. When the officiant proclaims that it is time for the vow exchange, switch back to handheld or jump on a video monopod. For this ceremony, I chose to go handheld so I could be quick and change framing rapidly if needed. Before you do, make sure to move any tripods out of the center aisle in preparation for the next phase. Here, I move over to the left side to capture the groom's vows. Towards the end of the vows, I move over to the bride's side in preparation for her vows. Then something interesting happened. The groom says something in Korean. I knew that the bride and her parents were Korean and that it would invoke a reaction from them. This is usually a great position to capture key family members in the front row, so I quickly turned and captured this shot. And then I finished capturing the bride's vows. Phase 5, the ring exchange. After the vows, the officiant is going to announce the exchanging of the rings. You don't want to miss the kiss, and typically the ring exchange signifies that we're getting close to the end. This is where I move back around to the center and capture the ring exchange. Pro tip, before the ceremony, Make sure you discuss your plan with the photographer and see if they plan on moving up the center aisle for any reason, and if they do, to let you know so that you can move up with them. This ensures you're not getting blocked or fighting for shots. Phase 6, the recession. After capturing the kiss, I do one of two things depending on my setup. I either walk backwards with the couple, or I move to the back and let the couple walk through the frame. If you are on a gimbal or have a wider lens with IBIS on your camera, then choose option 1. If you're handheld with a long lens, I would definitely go with 2. In this scenario, I was handheld with an 85mm. So I moved to the back of the aisle quickly and captured the couple moving through my frame. You may have to get creative with your framing if the photographer is in the way. With either option, once I arrive at the back, I stay there and capture the wedding party and the family exiting. If you enjoyed this content and you found it educational or helpful to you, please like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.